Welcome to Cuelist Tutorials. In this tutorial, we are going to discuss the history feature. While Cuelist will always keep the most recent version of your work securely saved on the cloud, you can also record a snapshot of your project at any point when creating and sharing your cues. This snapshot includes all the details about cues, notes, and layers for every single page. It also saves the current version of the PDF script at the time of the snapshot creation. It does not include information about collaborators or collaborator permissions. To save a snapshot version of your script, you're going to go up to the menus and you're going to click on the history feature. Up at the top of the history menu, you're going to be able to insert a version name. Now, it's important to note that anytime Cuelist saves a version of your script, it's going to include the date and the time, so you do not have to include that in your name if you don't want to. Well, let's label this one First Day of Tech, and we will click the Save New Version. Now you will see down below we have the date, today's date, with a down arrow, and if we click on that arrow, we will see the title of our saved version and the date and time that it was saved. To the right of that, we will see three icons. Now, we are seeing those three icons because we're the project owner. The three icons we're seeing is delete version, make live, and show the version. Before I help you understand what these are, I want to go back to our main page and I want to show you something. Right up here at the top on our menu bar, we see the title of our project, and then we see in gray something that says Live Edit. Live Edit refers to the version that we are currently using. So if we are currently updating our current script, we are in Live Edit. If we go back to our history version and we go in and we show a different version, so say First Day of Tech, we're going to click that button. Cuelist is going to reload, and you will notice now that instead of saying live version, it says First Day of Tech. We can make changes to this version of the script, but it will not update the live edit. So it's important to note that this is a different version of our script. It's also usually not a great practice to be updating two scripts at the same time because they are completely separate from each other. So if you are updating the version that says First Day of Tech, and then we go back into history and we go back to the live version and we show that version, the edits we made in that history will not be shown on our live version. Now, a couple other things to note in our history. The first is that we can delete this version that is not undoable. So if you delete a version of a script, it will delete it forever. The second is you can take an old version or a saved version of the script and make it live. That will replace the current live version. That is also undoable. So if you make an old version live, you will not be able to regain your previous version. Now, I want to show you a couple things. In a previous tutorial, we discussed making changes to the PDF. And you'll notice that if I hit the down arrow here on this date, we have a number of saved versions that just are labeled PDF adjustment. And that's because every time that we make a change to the PDF, we are given the option to save the script prior to making the change. And it will save that script as a PDF adjustment with the date. Let's look at that for a second because I just want to show you. We're going to go back to the first version of this. We're going to click on show that version and we're going to look here, and you'll see that if we go into the thumbnail, the numbering is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's sequential, and our page 5 is blank. And that's because that was before we made any changes to the script. Now, let's go back into our history. Let's go to our live version and look at it. And you can see now that the numbering has been changed. We've inserted a page and we've gotten rid of that blank page. So any changes you make to the PDF are going to be saved in the history version. I always recommend that you save a copy of the PDF before you make any changes to the base PDF, just because It is impossible to undo that without the history version. You can't just hit an undo button. You really need to save a version of that prior to making the changes. So beyond saving the script just in case there's an error, there is another use for our history version, and I think it's helpful to take a look at that. If we go back into our first day of tech and we click on this and we show that version, we can look at this version, and as the project owner, you'll notice up here at the top of our menu is a project lock button. And if we flip this, we now see that this project is locked. So if you are someone who wants to work on a script and not have your collaborators be making changes to that script while you are working, say you're calling a section of the show, or you just want a static copy of the script on Cuelist, you can go make a copy of that script and lock it, and this copy will now be unchangeable for any of your collaborators. It's a great way to work possibly on a section while someone else is updating a future version of the script, or any other reason you might want to prevent changes. If you want to go back in and allow changes, all you got to do is flip that lock off and say that this then becomes what you really want your script to be. The changes that were made to the script were incorrect. You can go back and click the Make Live, and that will turn this version into the current live version. Only the project owner is able to lock the script, and only the project owner is going to be able to make the other versions of the script live. Okay, that's all we have for the history feature. Thanks for watching.